Now, in exactly 2 hours from now, the Black Stars of Ghana will face off with their counterparts from Egypt. Having suffered a 2-1 defeat to Cape Verde in their Group B opener, the 4-time African champions face the daunting prospect of taking on 7-time winners, Egypt, in their second group game. This show explores the immense pressure the Black Stars are actually currently under and highlights the impeccable record in the second group games, as we know it for, of course, since 1998. Despite occasional eliminations at the group stage, Ghana has maintained an undefeated streak in second group games for over 2 decades. As the narrative unfolds, tonight we examine Ghana's historical struggles against Egypt as the nation's cup emphasizing their rare victory in 5 previous encounters. The spotlight also intensifies the upcoming clash with Egypt, having previously secured a victory over Ghana in the final to claim the 7th AFCON title in Angola. Join us on Upfront as we analyze the stakes, the strategies, and the historical narratives leading up to Ghana's crucial match against Egypt. We also explore the Black Stars and how they can overcome the odds and secure a pivotal win, as many Ghanaians are gearing up for it as we speak at the AFCON. Now, joining me in this conversation, first and foremost, we'll be having a former minister. We'll also be having a former member of the Executive Council of the Ghana Football Association. But I'm starting with a journalist of extraordinary nature because he's done this for God knows how long. Carl Tufo, you're welcome to Upfront.
Thank you very much, Raymond.
Will we win this match? That's the question on the lips of every football or non-football person in the Republic of Ghana. Will we win?
Raymond, that's the most difficult question to answer, simply because there's been, to a certain degree, a media blackout on what the Black Stars are up to in Abidjan. When I say up to, you mean people just have little interviews, and it can lead to all manner of fury by the management. And it's amazing that Ghanaian journalists can gain access to Nigerian footballers, to Ivorian footballers, to other footballers, but when they need to gain access to Ghanaian footballers, it becomes a bit of a chore. That notwithstanding, listen, let's not delude ourselves. I realized that in your intro you spoke, which was very, very typical of us Ghanaians, looking for a reason or trying to catch us. So, Ghana has never lost a second group stage match since 19 Kojohoho.
Factual.
In the factual, yes, factual. But then again, why was the cutoff point at a particular year? Why didn't you go throughout the history of the whole tournament? Then we can make a proper analysis. So you look for all these little things that we hope will help us. At the end of the day, it's not going to help us. What is going to help us is, 1, the commitment of the players to do the business on the field of play, and 2, the management of the team, which is under the FA, and it will need to make sure that everything is all right. Let's get it right. Sometimes, rightly so, the coach can take the can. Because when the team does well, the coach is praised. So obviously when the team doesn't do well, the coach must carry the can. Having said that, and I repeat, if we're going to play like the way we played against Cape Verde, or Cape Verde, whichever way you want to say it, the natives say Cape Verde, we say Cape Verde. If the players are going to deliver what they delivered on that day, then I'm sorry, it'll be good night. Because hands on heart, Raymond. The coach, you cannot legislate for the 2 blunders that led to the goals. The coach cannot do that. It's the players on the field of play. So it's just, a motley of people hoping and praying that something will come out of it. I personally, as a human being, and as a Ghanaian, first and foremost, will say, I'll say, let's put it this way, I hope we don't lose. But if I were a non-Ghanaian, and I was to look at things objectively, I think, without any, what's the word to say? Without any fear of equivocation, right? We would not probably be smiling by the end of 10 o'clock.
No, it sounds a bit, in all fairness, the understanding that many come to this game is that we have not said that we have the best team in the world. We have not said that we have the best players. And we have not really shown the competence to deliver at this particular tournament right from the beginning. But what will be the trick? Which sort of players, and will it come to that? Or what should the coach do differently? Because it appears the entire nation is hoping for a win. What can we do to ensure that happens? What lessons should the coach learn immediately?
Raymond, you as a journalist, me as a journalist, the fans can't do anything except the fans who are there who will shout and try to urge the team on. It boils down to what the players will do on the field of play. And you can't control it. And that's why all the work must have been done behind the scenes to make sure that at the end of 90 minutes, you and I can walk out with our chest held up high saying that we did it, folks. But the crux of the matter is this. How often have we tended to disappoint? Let's go through history. You spoke about history. You spoke about second-round games. When was the last time Ghana lifted the trophy? Raymond, sorry to say, and I'm not trying to belittle you, but it wasn't in your lifetime. It wasn't in your lifetime. 1982. It was in the era of black and white TV on the African continent. We've moved from black and white. We've gone to HD. We've gone to UHD. We've gone to 4K. The nearest we've come is 1992, post-match penalties against the Ivory Coast, and God cares them because they are the only nation that keeps on beating us in penalties. And in 2015 as well, and 2010 when we lost Egypt. Apart from that, it's always semi-finals and out. But even then, we were somehow content, at least top 4. But over the last 3 tournaments, we've crashed out either at the group stages or at the round of 16. Simply put, not good enough, Raymond. And that's why many Ghanaians are pessimistic. I'm not saying it can't happen. Anything happens in football. But I'm saying that over the past 2 tournaments, it's been disaster after disaster after disaster. And it doesn't make me carry hope. Look, our bright spot, one of our bright spots, let me put it that way, is not 100% fit. So the question is asked, are you going to risk him? Kudus, I'm talking about. Are you going to risk him? And then Jiku plays his heart out. And I found out this statistic, that the last 2 goals scored by a Ghanaian in the African Nations Cup were scored by defenders. And ironically, it was Jiku. He got both goals in the last tournament, in the last game when we lost, and then this one. So what's happening? Our forwards are not scoring goals. What's happening? We've got to face the reality, Raymond. Are we what we used to be? And if I were not a Ghanaian, I'd say, no, we are not. And we are now one of the awesome ones. And that's why we were not seeded in the first place. That's why in the World Cup draw, we were not seeded. And that's why we are struggling, simply put. And let's not fool ourselves. Cape Verde or Cape Verde deserve the victory. It was shocking to see we struggling to play. And they overwhelming us with what we used to call ourselves as what the Brazilians of Africa for. Maybe yes, because lately Brazil themselves haven't been doing so well. So we'll continue playing that quote, teka-taka, and get nowhere.
Now, I give me a second. Let me introduce my other guests into the conversation, but I need to take some other words from you, Carl, on this one. I'm also joined in this conversation by a former Executive Council member of the Ghana Football Association, Dr. Tony Obi. You're welcome to Upfront. And I should be joined by a former minister in the Ministry of Youth and Sports too pretty soon. But let me start with you, Dr. Obi. It doesn't appear, if you are objectively looking at this, at least according to the ever competent analysis from Carl Tufuo, that we are the favorites going into this game. Are we? Yes, Dr. Obi, if you can hear me, yeah. Yes, I'll be glad if you could unmute. Yes, I'll be very happy. Yes, sir.
Well, good evening to you and to my good friend Carl. And when Carl does his analysis, who are you to say he's wrong? I think he's pretty right. But you know, when you're in that situation, the only thing you are left with is hope. And it is the hope that is going to carry us. If you look at one-on-one as players, we do not have a bad set of players. But probably we are not diving as a team. And we haven't done so in the last a couple of tournaments, and that's quite worrying. I just tweeted that somehow I am getting the certain feeling that we're going to carry the day. I don't know where that hope is coming from, But I guess that is what is left, with me. Look, I keep saying that football in this modern time is not played by statistics. It's not played by history, and it is played on the pitch. So you have to demonstrate your abilities on the pitch, and not because people are afraid of you. In those days when Ghana was going to play any team at all, you see, shivers down the spines of their opponents. These days, when they are going to play with us, they really fancy their chances. I mean, I recall in 2005 or so for the World Cup qualifying games, we met Cape Verde in their own territory. I think we beat them 3-0 with a very stunning opening game by Larry Kensington. We went ahead to beat them 3-0 in their own backyard. Never mind that we beat them here in Ghana. But now nobody's afraid of us. I recall a few years ago when they had a youth program here. The Minister of Youth and Sports from Comoros Island came to meet with the president of the DFA and the team, including myself. And the minister said, "Look, we want to come and have an arrangement with Ghana, so Ghana will help the national team come up because Ghana is superior when it comes to football." And then they got us in Cameroon, and they made a mincemeat out of us. And therefore, I'm sure they didn't even push forward with them because I'm sure they can teach the teacher. So it's a challenging game for us. But somehow, I know that the players themselves, given what they themselves have said, given what the coach has said, and given that there is some level of expectation, but huge level of expectation from Ghanaians, I'm sure they're going to turn the table. I know in the heart of Carl, he wants Ghana to win. I know very well. But he wants to save his heart. He doesn't want to go raise the heart and say that Ghana is going to win. I have some hope that the unexpected would happen, which means Ghana is likely to carry the day.
And you basically paint us as the underdogs going into this game.
Absolutely. I think we're in that good position because listen, when we're playing Cape Verde or Cape Verde,
okay,
I drove around town for a while and I didn't see people with the usual Ghana flag, horns blaring and all those things. I didn't see that. I didn't hear that. And I was like, is Ghana playing today? We lost. I think that people saved their heart by not putting too much expectation on them. I know people still want to win and be happy. However, I see that Ghanaians generally have lost hope. They are not expecting so much from their Black Stars. And then, of course, given the performance with Cape Verde, and then, of course, the quality of the Egyptian team, everybody would think Ghana is the underdog. But that's where the surprise could be sprung.
Now, is this surprise possible, Carl Tufor, mindful of your experience in this field? Are we likely to pull a surprise, something that will wow the rest of the world into thinking that, oh, we really had something hidden that's been unearthed now?
Look, Raymond, let's not mince words whatsoever. Shocks are part and parcel of the game. So if it happens, hallelujah to that. Okay? But I try to look beyond that because you brought me here to be as objective as possible.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily nationalistic. Otherwise, then you just would have gone and picked somebody out in the street who is fervent and flag carrying whatnot. It's going to be extremely difficult. Listen, stats may not mean anything, but the reality on the ground is that since that 6-1 defeat that we handed out to Egypt in the 2013 Kumasi match, which eventually took us to Brazil 2014. I think we've met 4 times and haven't beaten the Egyptians once. There's always a first time. You can break it. That's fine by me, and that's all right by me. But I would expect to see a 120% improvement, not 50%, not 70%. I'd expect to have massive improvement in the performance. And you know one thing, incidentally, I asked myself whether part of those running football, the right people are in the executive council. I'm not saying this because Tony is on the other line. But how the heck did they vote Tony out of the FA executive committee? It baffles me. How did they not vote for Eloy Amandi? People who can take this game forward and are thinking forward. That's the problem that we are having. We are resetting and going back to the old era. When we have people like Tony and Eloy who are thinking forward and are part of the modern game. And that's why people like myself, who are from a different era, will not put ourselves forward as candidates for any FA position. Because there's a thing. We need to move with the times. And that for me is the key thing. 1, relationship with players. 2, relationships with football clubs that these players are playing in Europe. So key. I make mention of it all the time. Michael Essien. We forced Michael Essien to come to play for Ghana in the 2010 African Nations Cup when he was injured. That's what Chelsea told us. We said no. We brought him in. He lasted 18 minutes against the Ivory Coast. He worsened his injury, and he never played for the next 6 months. By the time he was fit and ready to play, the position had already been cemented by John Obi Mikel, the Nigerian. And that was it. His career went plummeting down. Let's not dare do this to Kudus. If the man is injured for me, even though the Western people were there to let him come and they came down, I would expect that we say, okay, let's have a plan B. No Kudus. Leave him there. Let him get well. And that brings to me this whole business of having the Nations Cup in the middle of the European season, when even the professional players themselves are against it.
Now, I get the point you're trying to make there. Is this issue really the biggest problems that we have on our hands? I'll bring you, Tony, onto this one. Of course, I mean, I did say you are former as executive council member. Carl is not really happy with the fact that you're no longer very active in the game. But the player management and the relationship with players that he just outlined out there, how big of a problem is this? Because you are deep in the heart of the FA, or you were more recently, until recently anyway.
Yes. Look, football is a combination of many factors. You know, what you see, the key activities on the pitch, but how you get onto the pitch is a big thing. And, you know, that's why your players, sometimes when they are coming to play, you have a team rented a helicopter to bring the player because of how they see the player, the value of the player, and the relationships that they have. So it's a huge thing, and so you need to really create that relationship that will ensure that a player gives up.
Sorry, I appear to be losing you. If it's possible, sir. Well, okay, we lost the former executive council member of the Ghana Football Association, Dr. Tony Obin there. Okay, I think that the connection is perfect now. You were making a point. We lost you along the line. I'll be okay if you just could reiterate that point.
Yes, what I'm doing is it's very important the Ghana of people that the technical
well, there is still a slight difficulty there, and I'm sure we can work it out perfectly and get you, and so that it can be seen and heard properly in this conversation about the chances of the Black Stars going into the 2023 AFCON, which is supposed to be having our second game. A second game that many are fearing may not go as well as we want it to be. Carl, the other point that's been made is about the current coach that we have. Whether or not the current coach is living up to the billing of Ghanaians or is delivering at the rates that we want him to deliver. Some have already asked for his sack. Is this something that we should be considering regardless of the outcome of this match or whether we qualify to the next round?
Okay, the truth of the matter is that Tony will bear me out. His contract comes to an end in February. So regardless of what happens, the only way Chris Hughton is going to stay, unfortunately, is if we win the trophy. If we form miracle after miracle after miracle. Because don't forget that the FA wanted to get rid of him. Government intervened. Already, don't forget that the government that pays the coach, it's not the FA. So, you haven't finished paying for Kwesiapia. It was fired. You haven't finished paying for Charles Akono. It was fired. You haven't finished paying for Raymond. It was fired. And you want us to, quote, sack this one and then get a new one so that you're just keeping quotation marks just on yourself. So that's the reason why it became secure. Government made it known without any shadow of a doubt. It ain't going to happen. Case closed. But now there's a little leeway. His contract comes to an end in February. If the FA doesn't want to renew it, they can fire him and go and bring a new coach. But in bringing the new coach, guess what? Government will have a say. And if government is not happy about that coach, they'll tell you, go and find another one. So clearly, the coaches, if the coach is that ambitious, and ironically, he has a Ghanaian father. Believe you me, he has a Ghanaian father. His mom, who is Irish. He has been coming, I've been meeting up with him since 2010 when he came on a holiday. And we have been meeting up since then. He knows his job is on the line if he fails to deliver tonight.
Yes, please, yes, proceed. Yeah. Now, I was asking whether his problem is that of competence or just that he doesn't have the right team or his influence from outside that's making him not deliver in these games.
I know people within the FA fraternity say his competence is zero, so therefore he's not a good coach. But then again, we also need to factor in, do we really have the sort of talent that we had 15 years ago that Tony was talking about? Lion Kingston, Michael Essien, Apia, something that was started by Ben Kofi in 2001, and the crop of players that came along that suddenly became, quote, world-class in quotation marks. We don't have those sort of players. So that's something. Now, the FA fraternity don't like it, but don't forget that, could it be that it's because he's being independent-minded? Could it be that he's not going to tolerate Raymond Acquah come tell him, like the Bible says, have you considered my servant Job? Have you considered this player? No way. He has made it known, and that's why some people are not happy with him. Admittedly, he's not produced on the field of play, so it has heaped more pressure upon him. If he were deliberate, if the team was playing well and winning matches the way we think he should, he would have been in a much stronger position. But because the team is not winning, it's given the FA ammunition, and more importantly, he now is suddenly becoming a suspect. The only thing he has that popped him up, as I said earlier, was the government saying that, look, we've had enough of paying compensation to coaches while still paying salaries of new coaches. And that's why he's still in the job.
Get this, because I understand that a former sports minister, Nilante Vadipapo, joined this conversation now. Honorable, this is not a terrain you are not familiar with, but it appears many are not convinced this is a game we are likely to win. In fact, that's where we started this conversation. Let me ask you, from where you sit, whether there is some magic that the Black Stars can pull in this conversation or in this game in a way that would bring back the hope and the excitement that many Ghanaians appear to not so much of that appears to have been lost or is on the receding level when it comes to the Black Stars in this case.
Well, thank you very much, and let me say good evening to all of you, the viewers, and of course my brother Carl Tufor. It's a very difficult one, let me be frank with you. If we're playing so well, many people will have been convinced that with Egypt, we could be possibly be able to scrape through. But we are not actually playing well, and that is where the fear factor has come in. But you know, it's football. Sometimes many a time we don't start competitions and tournaments so well, but we improve ourselves as it goes. But you see, you are talking about a very organized team, Egypt, who, even when we were so strong as a country in football, we found them very difficult to beat. Technically good.
Well, do I have a... Oh, okay. Can you, sorry, it appears to have actually muted yourself again. Honorable, can you unmute so that we can hear you? I'm interested in the final point you're making about the history of Ghana versus Egypt and what the current peculiarities suggest to that.
The same setup.
You are back now.
Then let me say it will be extremely difficult to be able to win if the same setup. One thing I saw about our team is that our build-up too slow. Two, our passes were so poor. In fact, the match we played against Cape Verde, I counted as many as 28 faulty passes. 28. At this level, it's just too much. At this level, it's just too much. You cannot survive in a match like that with those level and amount of faulty passes. And most of the faulty passes were also in our midfield. So as soon as you make a mistake, the Egyptians will punish you. They are very fast, especially their forward liners are very, very fast and very skillful indeed. Salah alone is a bundle. So we must be careful on how we handle our ball, especially in the midfield. The defenders, the defense that played last time had not played together for a long time, so they could not really understand each other. Salisu and Jiku had not paired too many times, and that was a problem. We are playing. We initially tried to play a sort of 3 back, and then we changed to 4 back. We don't really know the system we're playing. So whenever Godfrey-Mensah moves up, it becomes very difficult for us. Godfrey-Mensah will play against Salah. If we are not careful and we continue with the sort of sluggish passing and the way we do our things in the midfield, and there's a turnover, we'll be punished. So it is something Raymond, we are seriously have to look at.
Raymond?
Yes, I can bring you in now.
Yeah, Raymond, I just wanted to say one good thing about Nilante. See, the good thing about Nilante is that he's a journalist first and foremost. And that's why he's been objective. If Nilante had been a politician from day one, he had never done journalism, all those sort of things, he wouldn't be speaking like this. Because he knows, and that's the whole beauty of being in our profession before even going. And that's what I find a bit disturbing and a bit surprising, that people in the FA who were in the media and now are there would have been looking to get for want of a better word, please, a better relationship with the media.
Okay.
Because Kurt was there, Prosper was there, and you were there. And that's why I'm saying that if you take Nilante, he's speaking first and foremost as a journalist. He's a politician now, but he's not got rid of his journalistic, if there's a word like journalistic, but journalistic attitude. If he had been a playing politician, he would have said, oh, we are going to win by all means, we are going to win by all means, and then we'll leave it there.
I'll come back to you, Carl, but let me now get Nilante's view on the coach that we have now and the uproar about whether or not, no matter what happens in this AFCON, he must go. I think that's almost like consensus. I don't know if we are just looking for somebody to blame, or when we remove the coach, we'll fix the problem in the team. Let's not forget, we've tried a lot of coaches in the last few years.
Raymond.
Yes.
It's a very difficult one. Let me say this. I think I advised some years ago, I remember very well, on your network when this issue of coach came in. Then I said one thing. Why are we going for the coach? Because we're not going for a coach to win the Cup of Nations. So we must be able to set our priority. If I were there, I will ask the GFA, why do you want to go for Chris Hughton? What are the objectives you are setting for him? What are the KPIs you are setting for him. Qualification to the World Cup, qualification to AFCON, winning the AFCON, or building a strong human resource base of our young technical people we have, like the Siki Akunos, Yao Prekuns, Godwin Atrams, Oleles, and all these young ones who have now retired from football and have ventured into coaching. From the background you have, can you build this human resource for us? Let's take note, as a country, that was what we did in Nkrumah's era. CK Jemfi, Ben Kofi, and the rest were sent out. Asibebuachi, a lot of them were sent out. And they came back and they invested their knowledge in people like Adebi, Afrani, Usam Dodu, Jones Atukwefew, and the rest. So that was what I saw in the appointment of Chris Hughton. I saw him as somebody we are putting in place as a technical director to develop for us our technical department so that we can build our coaches, so that he's going to transfer knowledge. He is a Ghanaian who has been out there and has achieved a lot in the area of technical development. So I thought we were bringing in to develop the capacity of our people. And then the short term, what do we do to encourage some of these young ones to be able to manage the team, but reduce the level of expectation, but then be able to develop our kind of football, our structure, where we shall develop it not only at the national level, but through all our national teams and even into our local football, so that all our players will know that this is the kind of structure, this is a kind of football, this is a kind of discipline regime that you go through in order to get into the national team.
Okay.
So that when Hearts of Oak and Kotoko are playing, we have the same pattern, we have the same design, we have the same formula, then we can build it so well that it becomes easier for players within the local league or even the national team to fit. So that at any point in time, when a player, be it foreign or local, is invited to a national team, he doesn't find himself out of place. This is what is done in England. This is what is done in Italy. This one is done in Spain. So in Spain, they can call any player from Osasuna, Celta Vigo, Barcelona, Real Madrid. Anytime, as soon as he gets into a national team, he is already akin to the form of game they are playing. But we have a system whereby every match, we have a different set of players. Then they come with different approach, different discipline, different structure, different knowledge. Is it now that we are going to tune in those players to be able to fit into the chemistry that you've developed? And you should understand that even in the chemical laboratory, it is not all the liquids that you put together that can work with one another.
Okay.
You understand?
No, I get your point.
That is the problem I have. The problem I have that we didn't appoint Chris Hughton with a clear objective. So the normal thing that we have done in the past is what we have done. You understand? We have a coach. When there's a match, then they come. The coach puts people together. They are invited a week to the assignment. They get together, play a match. After the match, goes away. The coach is there, nothing. I think that was a mistake. With Chris, what I would suggest we do, in order not to waste money, I would rather suggest that we change the reason for which we appointed him. I would wish that we let him assume the technical directorship of our game. Just as in England, we have people who are just the technical directors when you go to St. George's. And what they do is that they always have these national team coaches, Southgate and all these coaches, and coaches from the Premier League and the Football League, the Championship and the Football League, all going there always to learn, be developed. So that is what I would expect. I wouldn't want that the amount of money we've invested in him. I will not be too happy with we just sacking him and letting him go. I think we need to change the position we have for him and get him into a directorship with a mandate, pay him to develop our game, to develop our coaches, and develop our young ones who are coming up, so that we can benefit from him in the future.
Which really means that we will need another coach, won't we?
I believe that the younger ones who are working with him,
okay, because
whether we like it or not, the anticipated results we will not get today. So the younger ones who are working with him should be there. But then he should have the mandate to develop more younger ones. We have a lot of them. A lot of our young ones have gone into coaching now. Okay. He can help them develop better. Then we can have an opportunity to benefit from his knowledge and technical know-how.
That's an interesting perspective. Let me bounce it off, Dr. Tony Obeng. Do you agree a different role for the current coach? We let one of his younger people take up the team, and we look into the future and build from now. Is this something that sounds very realistic and reasonable to you? Yes, Dr. Tony Obeng, if you can hear me. Yeah, well, I still struggle with Dr. Tony Obeng, so let me bring in Carl. Carl, is this something that, from where you sit, both government and the GFA will be amenable to considering?
Well, the truth, like I said at the beginning, maybe Neil Anthony missed out on it. The truth is that his contract expires
in February, yeah.
Yeah. So the question now is, will they renew it? And that mandate does not fall within government; it falls within the FA. Obviously, the government can, quotation marks, hold the strings if they so want to. But you see, you must look at the pulse of the nation. Is the pulse of the nation really for retention of Chris Hughton in the fact that it's not looked extremely good at all since he came? I'm not too sure whether that's the pulse of the nation. But then again, that's why they are FA. And that's why they should be able to get up and stand by their decision. NI is offering a radical solution. We've never tried it before. Maybe it could work. But believe you me, if he hands it, if that one goes through and he's developing the coaches, the problem will be the fans' impatience with the local coaches who will take over. The Boatins, the Didi Dramanis, and what's his name? Eddie Ansah, the rest who are there. One single defeat, Raymond, your how do you call it? Songo, will go tangential. They will all go kick. That is the sort of thing that the risk will. But then, if you decide that I'm doing this for the longer benefit of the country, then so be it. I am
Perhaps now I can bring in Dr. Tony Obeng. Yes. Hello? Yeah, Dr. Obeng, can you hear me? Well, no, not at all. It's still a very terrible line to him. I'm sure we should be able to get that fixed and maybe bring him in again. Now, Nilante, the other issue that we were discussing prior to you joining was to do with whether or not we should be very excited about the kind of players we have today. Not long ago, the coach of Hearts of Oak, the foreign coach of Hearts of Oak, prior to his exit anyway, said we had a national striker problem and that goal scorers were a rarity in the Republic of Ghana today. So many say that that particular diagnosis is true for the Black Stars and for basically the teams that we have had over the period. Is this something we should admit and work on?
Can you hear me?
Yes, this is better now. I think that's Dr. Tony Obeng. Yes, sir. Please join
me. Yes, okay. I think that the idea of actually developing a technical advisory center is part of the gamut of programs for the FA. If you're going to be fair.
Okay.
The center has been developed. I think there was this German coach was there, supported by Professor Minta and all that. And the idea was exactly what Honorable Nilante van der Poel described. It is important that we develop our own internal local coaches, local technical people to handle us. And I think the idea of we going to tournament and having a coach for tournament is really not the right idea. I think we need to have a coach that builds a team. Personally, because I chaired the Galaxies, my belief was to build a Galaxy, the local Black Stars, that would have played together for a long time and be able to play as a team. Remember, the Appiahs and the Asians and Sule Muntaris and all that, they started playing in Ghana. Liberty Professionals, about 4 of them were playing the same thing.
And
then some of them were
and we basically make the same references. So where did we get it wrong? At what point did the vision change? Because this has been referenced consistently. If we think that the blueprint that works, why did we throw it out anyway?
No. I think what happened was that a lot of people are now playing outside, doing well in their individual clubs. You remember before we went to the World Cup, I saw the FA went to the families of all these players who were doing well outside, but had never played in Ghana. So the challenge has been how to put them together. And football is a teamwork. It's not just being a skillful player or being a good individual player, but you need to be able to play together as a team. And I think that is a challenge. I envision a Black Stars which will be dominated by a local set of players and supported by expatriate in quote Ghanaian, how do you call them, the diasporan players playing with us. Because when it is dominated, and they are very good, there's no doubt about that. When they are playing in their own clubs, you see them and you think really Ghana has a lot of good players. But you can't put them together in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and then expect any sound result. So I think that's where we are getting it wrong. We need to strengthen the internal build-up. And then also, we should move away from this idea of building or appointing coaches for tournament, and then once the tournament ends, we look for another coach, and we don't have the concept of our own football. We don't have a system of football that we can relate to. I think that is a challenge, and I pray that after this, and you see, even before we went to the World Cup, I was on one of the networks, one of the media networks, and I was saying that, look, let's give Otoado the chance because he's been there for a long time, and then you have Chris Houston backing him. After that, Otoado is going to go. Let's keep Chris Houston to build the team, to build a national team, the Black Stars, and other technical people. That was an idea which I personally said, I think, on some TV station. I don't want to advertise those TV stations that I spoke to you, and then I'm sure you're on your own set as well. So I think that what we are facing now is a problem that is very difficult for us to surmount now, especially in the tournament. Okay. It's going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging, but going forward, we need to be able to relook the way we have our technical team and the way we also keep our players.
Permit me to now explore with you, gentlemen, what will work in the current game you are going to play. Do we have an Ayew problem, be it Jordan or Dede? Do we have an Ayew problem in the team that has come up consistently? Do we have a better pair to actually deliver up front? Let me start with you, Carl. Do you have an Ayew problem?
I don't know what an Ayew problem is. The reason why I'm saying this is that, yes, I've heard people having reservations about Jordan. He doesn't score enough. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. But I keep on asking the same people. So how come he plays regularly for Crystal Palace? Okay. He must be doing something right. Then he must be doing something right. Now, he is not supposed to be your goal scorer. He's supposed to be your worker, the worker center forward that will go wide, will come in the middle. Yes, granted that sometimes, you see, we try to measure him to the standard of his father, who was a genius. So that's not fair. Andre, I think I wouldn't have taken. I think he served his country well. I probably would have said yes. But Jordan, I don't see it as an AU problem. That's the first thing. The second thing, you've got to make do with what you have now. And you've got to develop strategies and ways and means. Listen, as I'm speaking to you now, I'm watching the Ivory Coast versus Nigeria. Can you believe that Nigeria are 1 goal up and have only had 1 shot on target? And that was a penalty kick.
Yeah.
That was a penalty kick.
Yeah.
But that's football for you. It can be crazy. Absolutely crazy. You can have all the possession and Ghana can just get a break, bang, and it's in, and you can hit the crossbar post and whatever it is, and you've lost the game. I'm seeing something similar right now.
That really means we should be hopeful, right?
Absolutely.
Yes. The Nigerian example, the country we share hotel with, that people have been using to actually mock us, shows that we can also make it in this game.
Absolutely. I've never denied that. But I'm saying that this is because I'm Carl Tufo, who is a Ghanaian. If I were Carl Tufo, who was British, or Raymond Acquah, who is American, if I was going to sit down and be objective, I'll think otherwise. Which is what Tony, that's why everybody says you're underdog. Even Hila says you're underdog. Even Tony says you're underdog. It doesn't mean you can't win. And let's stop this business about an AU problem. For crying out loud, the man is doing a job for Crystal Palace that he's playing almost every. He plays more than any other Ghanaian player.
Yes.
Carl.
Yes, sir.
I totally agree with you, and I also share your view that when people talk about our EU problem, fine. I really don't have any problem with Jordan. I think he works so hard, and in the last match we played, I think he did well. He worked hard. He was coming back to the defense to help and all that. But it's Andre that I think that our over concentration and over reliance on him at this point in time. For Christ's sake, he's 7th Cup of Nations. He will not have the same strength and ability as he did some 13 years ago. But I'm saying that, why did a coach leave out somewhere like Jeffrey Schropp? Carl.
I did. Thank you. Nilanke, thank you. I was also going to ask that question.
Leave out someone like Jeffrey Schropp.
Schropp is playing regularly.
Yes. And he works so hard. And he's very dangerous. He's even more dangerous than Jordan. You understand? It is a team selection which is a problem. And I agree when people say we have a striker problem. The strikers we've had, what is their convertibility rate? You understand? As compared to the old people. Look, we've had strikers. Ghana has been a country of strikers. I'll be frank with you. From the days of the Infums, to the days of Danowusu, Kwesiowusu, Poko Afriye, Willie Kluche, and to the days of George Alassa, Emmanuel Kwashi, you talking to even Abdul Alassa, Ben Kayede, Dan Kayede. We've seen strikers, Francis Kumi, we've seen strikers. So Ghanaians are now asking why? Why are we now today bereft of strikers? It's because our scouting and our, desire to look for the best out there has been taken over by personal greed and individual selfishness. You understand? People are not interested in the players they manage. People are not interested in the players from whom they will get some money, some cuts, and not somebody out there, even when he's playing for Kwabi Brim, has the potential to become our striker. Do you know where Infum and the rest were pulled from? Do you know where Kofi Pari was pulled from? Do you know where Abukari was pulled from? You understand?
No, I get the point. Please proceed. You are making the point. I think I almost lost you.
The problem we have now is that individual interests have superseded the national interest.
Is that not why, Honorable former Minister, is that not why we brought in a coach who cannot be controlled by anybody? A coach who appears to be independent and not like the ones that were pushing around. How come we still are complaining about the same problem?
Raymond, that issue.
Yes,
Raymond,
please.
that issue of somebody cannot be controlled is only a myth.
Oh, okay.
It's only a myth.
Okay, you make the point. Let me bring in Dr. Obin.
Yes. Well, I think that as Honorable will agree with me, our football has changed. The days of Inform and ball freeze and Willie Kluches and all those stuff, people played in Ghana with the love of Ghana. Today, anyone kicks and scores a couple of goals and is going outside. You recall a 3-year ban.
Yeah.
He was a budding striker, and then after scoring a couple of goals, he became an expatriate. And sometimes they go there and they warm their benches instead of playing actively and be picked. In those days when you had Tony Yeboah's, they were playing actively and they were being seen to be playing actively. So you'd always bring Tony Yeboah. And even our former coach, who was also playing outside. But it was a blend of local and Ghanaian players playing abroad. Now, if you have a total domination of foreign Ghanaian players, it is difficult to put them together for 2 weeks to participate in a tournament like that. I mean, you might say that it is the same with other clubs, but most of them, other nations, most of the teams that are doing well have the dominance of local players. If you look at Egypt, the team is dominated by Al Ahly, and so it is. If you look at the Black Stars in the past, you had the dominance of either Kotoko or Hazard, and then you had a couple of people who were Ghanaians who played outside to support it. So I think building from within, it should be our strategy, and that's why I believe in the local Black Stars if they were put together very well. However, these same people, once you put them together, they begin to shine, and then they're leaving. I remember when Egypt was a ghost.
By so saying, are you dismissing all the other accusations of people putting in their favorites and not actually choosing the very best of players for us, and decisions that are in personal parochial interest, contrary to what's in the national interest?
Well, this has been repeated many times, and things that are repeated sometimes may have a background. However, I cannot say with certainty that this is what it is, because I don't manage players. As you know, I don't manage players. I don't have a single player. In fact, even in the national teams, when some players from Midiama were selected, I went around asking them, how many of you are from Midiama? And they were laughing at me. You don't even know your own players. So I don't do that, and I haven't seen that, so I can't confirm that. But people have said it over and again. There must be some level of truth somewhere, but I can't say it for certain from my own self. So I think we need a lot of rebuilding to do, and for me, the rebuilding must be from the grassroots.
I need to wrap up. I'm starting with you. We've seen Nigeria, almost winning, because it's the 90th minute. There's 3 more minutes added, and I'm sure they are wrapping up on the one goal that they have. If Nigeria can make it, Ghana can make it, right, Dr. Obin?
Yeah, football, I have said, is not played by history. It is played on the pitch. And
I get you.
So on the day, if you do well, if you correct your previous mistakes, and if you focus and commit yourself, and then Kaltufos is 120%. Let me just say that if you did 105%, you're likely to win.
Carl, can we make it like Nigeria is doing wonderfully? Well, I'm not sure he's still on, so let me wrap up with Nilante Vanderpoel. Can we do the magic Nigeria is performing now?
Well, I think Nigerians have been lucky in this match. I think they've been lucky. I wouldn't think that they played anything better than what we did. They are lucky.
Well, many thanks to you, gentlemen, for joining us on today's Upfront, and many thanks to you also out there for joining us. And we all wish the Blasters all the very best. Hopefully the next time I'll come with the Ghanaian jersey and represent the victory and the progression to the next stage. Many thanks to you for watching Upfront. My name is Raymond Acquah.